Ryan sat at the long wooden desk in his classroom, staring at the exam paper. The numbers and words swam before his eyes. His mind was blank again. He chewed on the tip of his pencil, but no answer came. The silence in the room pressed on him, broken only by the scratching of other students' pens. When the bell rang, he handed in his empty paper. His teacher glanced at it and sighed. She had seen this many times before. "Ryan," she said gently, "you need to take your studies seriously. You cannot fail every test." Ryan forced a smile, but inside he felt heavy. He knew what would come next. At home, his father, a man known across the city for his wealth and power, would look at him with cold disappointment. That evening, Ryan sat across from his father in the grand dining hall. The golden chandelier glowed above, shining on the expensive plates and glasses. His father, Mr. Adil, looked at the test paper the driver had collected from school. A red mark at the top showed the failing grade. "Another failure," Mr. Adil said, his voice firm. "You have everything. You study in the best school. You have private tutors. Still, you waste every chance. Do you even care?" Ryan lowered his eyes. "I try, father. But it feels like nothing stays in my head." His father's tone sharpened. "Excuses. I built this empire from nothing. You will not inherit it if you continue this way." The words cut deep, but Ryan stayed silent. He wanted to cry, but he held it back. He had grown used to the feeling of not being good enough. Later that night, while the house grew quiet, Ryan wandered into the empty school hall. His father had arranged for him to stay late with tutors, but they had already left. He sat on a bench, staring at the floor. That was when he noticed someone sweeping at the far end. It was the janitor, Mr. Imran. He was a tall man with tired eyes, but his movements were steady and calm. His old shirt was worn at the edges, yet his face carried a kind light. "You are here late," Imran said, pausing his broom. "I just don't feel like going home," Ryan replied softly. Imran walked closer. "Tough day?" Ryan nodded. "Another failed test. My father thinks I am lazy. Maybe I am." The janitor studied the boy for a moment. "You remind me of someone," he said. "My own son. He struggled with school too, before he found his way." Ryan looked up, surprised. "Your son? What happened to him?" Imran's eyes softened. "He worked hard and discovered one small secret. That secret changed everything for him." Ryan frowned with curiosity. "A secret? What kind of secret?" Imran smiled but did not answer right away. Instead, he placed the broom against the wall and sat beside Ryan on the bench. "Tell me, Ryan," Imran said. "When you look at a page full of words or numbers, what do you feel?" "Lost," Ryan admitted. "Like I am trapped in a storm. My head gets noisy. I forget everything I read." Imran nodded. "That is the same storm my son faced. But storms can be calmed if you know how. The secret is not about being smarter. It is about learning how to see things differently." Ryan's heart beat faster. No teacher had ever explained it that way. Everyone only told him to work harder, memorize more, or stop being careless. But this man, a janitor with rough hands and tired shoes, spoke as if he understood. "Will you tell me?" Ryan asked in a small voice. Imran smiled again. "If you truly want to learn, then yes. But first, you must promise me one thing." What is that? That you will not give up after the first try. The secret works only for those who keep going, even when it feels impossible. Ryan thought about his father's angry face, the pressure of failing again, and the loneliness he carried inside. Slowly, he nodded. I promise. Imran placed a hand on his shoulder. Good. Then from tomorrow, I will show you step by step. You may not believe it at first, but if you trust me, you will see the change. For the first time in a long while, Ryan felt a small spark inside him. He did not know what the secret was yet, but the thought that someone believed he could change gave him hope. That night, as he finally returned home, he carried something his father's wealth had never given him: faith that maybe, just maybe, he was not a failure after all. The next afternoon, Ryan waited near the school gym after classes ended. His tutors had left again, frustrated by his lack of progress. But this time, he was not planning to go home early. He kept looking toward the hallway, wondering if the janitor would appear. Soon, Mr. Imran came, carrying his cleaning tools. When he noticed Ryan waiting, he smiled gently. So, you kept your promise, Imran said. Yes, Ryan replied. I want to know the secret. Imran leaned on his broom. The secret begins with how you see the problem. Do you think studying is about memorizing? That is what everyone tells me, Ryan said. Read more, repeat more, and somehow it will stay in my head. Imran shook his head. That is not learning. That is only forcing your mind. The secret is to connect what you learn with something you already know. When you connect, your brain remembers. My son used to fail every subject until he learned this. Ryan's eyes widened. But how do I connect things? Books are so boring. The words look like a wall. Imran reached into his pocket and pulled out a small coin. Here. Tell me what you see. Ryan looked at the coin. It's money. A 5-rupee coin. Good, Imran said. Now, if you were learning about circles in math, this coin could be your circle. If you were learning history, you could connect it with trade, how people used coins long ago. If you were learning about metal in science, this coin would be your example. Do you see? The coin is not only money. It is a key to many doors. Ryan stared at the coin, his mind opening in a way it never had before. So the secret is, examples. Not just examples, Imran explained. It is turning ideas into things you can see and touch. The more senses you use, the stronger the memory. Ryan nodded slowly. That makes sense. But I never thought of it like that. Of course you didn't, Imran said kindly. Nobody showed you. They only pushed you. The boy felt a mix of relief and sadness. Relief that maybe he was not hopeless, sadness that his father never understood. That evening, instead of sitting in his room feeling lost, Ryan took out his school book and tried Imran's method. He had a chapter about fractions. Normally, he would stare at the numbers until his mind went blank. But now, he placed an apple on his desk. He cut it into halves, then quarters. Suddenly, the numbers on the page made sense. Excitement grew in him. For the first time, he was not just staring, he was learning. The next day at school, he ran to Imran after class. It worked, he said, almost shouting. I used an apple, and fractions became easy. Imran chuckled softly. Good. You see, the secret is simple. But it requires practice. One success is not enough. You must build a habit. Ryan nodded eagerly. Teach me more. So Imran showed him another step. Break big things into small ones. My son once told me he felt like climbing a huge mountain when he studied. I told him, climb one step at a time. A chapter is a mountain. But a paragraph is a step. That night, Ryan tried again. He had a long history chapter about ancient kings. Normally, he would give up halfway. But this time, he read one paragraph and wrote a simple note in his own words. Then another paragraph. Then another. Slowly, the mountain did not seem so high. Days turned into weeks. Each afternoon, Ryan met Imran in the quiet corners of the school. The janitor taught him tricks no teacher had given, reading aloud to hear his own voice, drawing small sketches to remember facts, turning lessons into stories he could tell himself. One day, when Ryan solved a hard math problem on his own, he felt his chest fill with pride. I did it, he shouted. Imran smiled warmly. I told you. You are not a failure. You only needed to see the world differently. But outside their small circle, no one knew of Ryan's secret lessons. His father still believed he was wasting time. His teachers still thought he was careless. The real test had not yet come. It was only a matter of time before the school announced another round of exams. And this time, everything Ryan had learned with Imran would be tested. Ryan felt nervous, but deep inside, there was also a fire that had never been there before. He was ready to try again. The school hall buzzed with nervous voices. Students were gathering for the midterm exams, each holding sharpened pencils and stacks of notes. For most, it was a routine challenge. But for Ryan, it was something far greater. This was his chance to prove that he was not the failure everyone believed him to be. He sat at his desk, his heart beating fast. For a moment, doubt whispered in his mind. What if he forgot everything again? What if all the lessons with Imran failed? He closed his eyes and remembered the janitor's calm voice. Break it into steps. Connect it with what you know. Trust yourself. The exam began. Ryan took a deep breath and looked at the first question. It was about fractions. He remembered the apple on his desk, the way he had cut it into pieces. Slowly, he worked through the problem. To his surprise, the answer came clearly. Moving on, he faced a history question. Normally, the dates and names would confuse him. But now, he pictured the story he had told himself, almost like a movie in his head. He wrote with steady hands. As the minutes passed, Ryan felt something he had never felt before during exams: control. He was not lost in the storm anymore. He was guiding himself through it. When the final bell rang, he set down his pencil with a small smile. For the first time in his life, he had finished an exam without leaving the paper empty. Outside the hall, some students laughed and shared answers. Ryan stayed quiet, but inside he felt a glow. He could not wait to tell Imran. That evening, he found the janitor cleaning near the staircase. I did it, Ryan said breathlessly. I finished the whole paper. I remembered everything you taught me. Imran paused, then gave a proud nod. Well done, my boy. That is the first victory. No matter what the result, you already won. You fought the storm and stayed strong. But deep inside, Ryan still worried. What if his answers were wrong? What if he only thought he had done well? Days later, the results came. Students gathered around the notice board, pushing and calling out to each other. Ryan stood back at first, too afraid to look. Then, with trembling steps, he moved forward. His eyes scanned the list until he found his name. His heart skipped a beat. Next to his name was a grade higher than he had ever seen. Not perfect, but a clear pass. Ryan's hands shook. He almost could not believe it. He checked again to be sure. The letters stayed the same. He had passed. Behind him, a few classmates muttered in surprise. Ryan passed? How? Some even laughed lightly, but Ryan did not care. He felt like shouting with joy. Instead, he ran to find Imran. When he told him the news, Imran's face lit up with pride. "I knew you could do it," he said warmly. "Do you see now? You are not weak. You only needed the right way." For the first time in years, Ryan felt proud of himself. That evening, he returned home with his head held high. But his father, Mr. Adil, was not easily impressed. When the driver handed him the report card, he raised his eyebrows. "You passed," he said flatly. "Yes, father," Ryan said carefully. "I worked hard this time." Adil studied his son's face, then the paper again. "It is still not excellent. A son of mine should aim higher." The words stung, but Ryan no longer felt crushed. He had discovered a strength inside himself that even his father's cold tone could not take away. That night, as he lay in bed, Ryan thought about the journey ahead. Passing one exam was only the beginning. He wanted to climb higher, step by step, just as Imran had taught. But he also wondered how long he could keep the secret. What would his father say if he discovered that the boy's greatest teacher was not a private tutor or a professor, but the quiet janitor who swept the halls after everyone left? The thought made Ryan nervous. Yet, deep inside, he knew that Imran's guidance was the reason he had changed. And no matter what happened, he would not give up this secret bond. The next exams would come soon. Challenges would grow harder. But Ryan had tasted victory once, and now he wanted more. After his first passing grade, Ryan walked through the school halls with a new kind of energy. He was still quiet, still shy, but there was light in his steps now. He no longer felt like a shadow. Each afternoon, he continued to meet Imran in secret, learning small lessons that made big changes in his life. One day, Imran gave him an exercise. "Ryan," he said, handing him a notebook. "From now on, write one page every night. Not about schoolwork, but about what you see, what you feel, or even what you dream. Writing will clear your thoughts and make your memory stronger." Ryan looked at the blank notebook and frowned. "But I am not good at writing." Imran chuckled. "It does not matter. You are not writing for marks. You are writing for yourself. Words are like friends. The more time you spend with them, the more comfortable you become." That night, Ryan sat at his desk with the notebook. At first, his pen hesitated, but then he wrote a few lines about the apple tree in the schoolyard. Slowly, the page filled. When he finished, he felt lighter, as if he had spoken to someone who truly listened. The habit grew. Each page he wrote helped him see his own thoughts clearly. When he read his school books afterward, the words no longer felt like walls. They felt like doors he could open. Weeks passed, and Ryan's grades continued to improve. His teachers noticed, though they did not know the reason. Some praised him, while others assumed his father had hired better tutors. But the truth was known only to Ryan and Imran. Their bond grew beyond lessons. Ryan often asked about Imran's life. One afternoon, while they sat on the bench near the gym, He asked, "You always talk about your son. Where is he now?" Imran's smile turned soft. "He is far away, working in another city. He is the reason I keep going. I may not be rich, but if my son is strong and honest, then I am a rich man in my heart." Ryan nodded slowly. He thought of his own father, who measured success in wealth and power. It was strange to see someone like Imran, who had so little, speak with such quiet pride. The boy began to wonder what true success really meant. Was it passing exams, building companies, or becoming someone others respected for kindness and wisdom? At home, the distance between Ryan and his father remained. Mr. Adil continued to expect more, to demand higher grades and faster progress. He never asked how his son was improving, only if he was reaching the top. Ryan listened in silence, hiding the truth about the janitor's guidance. Part of him wanted to share the secret, but another part feared his father would never understand. One Friday evening, after school had ended early, Ryan stayed back to help Imran with his work. Together they cleaned classrooms, arranged chairs, and fixed broken desks. Ryan found himself enjoying it. He had never done such tasks before, yet he felt proud to help. "You are not too proud to sweep the floor?" Imran teased gently. Ryan smiled. "Not anymore. It feels good to do something real with my hands." Imran's eyes shone with approval. "That is another lesson. Knowledge is important, but so is humility. If you can respect every kind of work, you will never lose your way." Ryan thought about those words long into the night. He realized that Imran was not only teaching him to pass tests, but also to live with strength and balance. The next round of exams approached quickly. This time, Ryan felt prepared. He had his notebook, his sketches, and the memory tricks Imran had shown him. He entered the exam hall with calm confidence. When the results came, his name stood higher on the list than before. Not only had he passed, but he had scored near the top of his class in math and history. Students who once mocked him now looked at him with surprise. At home, his father studied the report card carefully. His sharp eyes narrowed. "This is a big improvement," he said slowly. "Tell me, who has been teaching you? I know it is not the tutors." Ryan froze. His heart pounded. The secret he had guarded so carefully was now in danger. Should he tell his father the truth about Imran? Or should he stay silent and risk losing the only person who believed in him? Ryan sat at the long dining table, the report card in his father's hands. The golden chandelier above them seemed brighter than usual, but the boy felt heavy inside. Mr. Adil's sharp eyes were fixed on him. "You have improved too much, too quickly," his father said slowly. "Tell me the truth. Who has been helping you?" Ryan hesitated. His promise to Imran echoed in his mind. The janitor had warned him to be careful. Some people, especially the proud, would never accept that wisdom could come from a simple man with a broom. But hiding the truth from his father felt wrong. After a deep breath, Ryan said softly, "It was not the tutors, father. It was Mr. Imran, the school janitor. He has been teaching me after class." Silence filled the room. Mr. Adil blinked in disbelief. Then his face hardened. "A janitor," he repeated, his voice cold. "You are telling me that the son of a billionaire is learning from a janitor?" "Yes," Ryan answered bravely. "He showed me a way to understand things. He believed in me when no one else did." Adil slammed the report card onto the table. "Do you realize how foolish this sounds? I pay the best tutors, and you waste your time with a man who sweeps floors." Ryan's voice shook, but he did not back down. "He may sweep floors, but he is wiser than all the tutors. He taught me how to think, not just how to memorize. Without him, I would still be failing." Mr. Adil stood, his face stern. "Enough. From now on, you will not meet this man again. Do you understand? You are my son, and you must learn from people of status, not servants." Ryan felt his heart sink. He wanted to argue, to shout, but he knew his father's temper. He lowered his eyes, tears burning in them. That night, he sneaked out of his room and went to the schoolyard, where Imran was locking the gates. "Imran," Ryan whispered, "my father found out. He forbids me from meeting you again." Imran sighed, his face calm. "I expected this day to come. Your father's pride is strong. He believes success comes only from wealth and high positions." "But what do I do now?" Ryan asked desperately. "I cannot lose what you have taught me. I cannot go back to failing." Imran placed a gentle hand on the boy's shoulder. "You will not fail. You already know the secret. It is inside you now. Even if I am not beside you, my lessons remain. Keep writing, keep breaking problems into steps, keep connecting ideas to what you know. That is enough." Ryan's eyes filled with tears. "But I still need you." Imran smiled softly. "You are stronger than you think. One day, your father may see the truth. Until then, let your success speak for you. Show him, not with words, but with results." The boy nodded slowly, though his heart was heavy. He walked home in silence, feeling as if he had lost a true friend. The following weeks were difficult. Ryan studied alone, following every method Imran had given him. He missed their talks, their small jokes, and the calm encouragement. But each time he felt weak, he opened his notebook and reminded himself of Imran's voice. When the final exams approached, pressure grew at home. Mr. Adil reminded him daily, "You must be at the top. I will not accept anything less." Ryan said nothing, but inside he carried a quiet fire. This time, he was not afraid of the exams. He had faced storms before and survived. On the day of the finals, he entered the hall with steady steps. He remembered the coin, the apple, the notebook, and the countless small tricks Imran had taught. Question after question, he wrote with confidence. Weeks later, the results were announced. Ryan's name stood at the very top of the list. He had not only passed, he had ranked first in his class. The news spread quickly through the school. Teachers praised him, students looked at him with new respect, and whispers filled the hallways. At home, when Mr. Adil saw the result sheet, his expression froze. His son, once called a failure, had become the best. Yet instead of joy, confusion clouded his face. "How is this possible?" he murmured. "Could it really be the teachings of a janitor?" Ryan looked at him quietly, waiting for his father's heart to understand. The night after the final results, the Adil mansion was filled with silence. Servants moved quietly, sensing their master's heavy mood. In his study, Mr. Adil sat alone, staring at his son's result sheet. His mind was restless. His son had gone from failure to the top of the class in only a few months. Tutors had tried for years without success. Yet now, when Ryan credited a janitor for his success, Adil could not accept it. "A janitor teaching my son," he muttered to himself. "Impossible." And yet, the evidence was before him. Meanwhile, in his room upstairs, Ryan felt both proud and anxious. He wanted to celebrate his victory, but his father's silence troubled him. He wished his father could see what he saw in Imran: the wisdom, the patience, the kindness that no amount of money could buy. The next morning, Adil called Ryan into the study. The boy entered nervously, holding his breath. "Sit," Adil said firmly. He leaned forward, studying his son's face. "Tell me again. Who helped you achieve this?" Ryan swallowed. "Mr. Imran, the janitor. He showed me a different way to learn." Adil's hands tightened on the armrest of his chair. "Do you realize how foolish that sounds? You are the son of one of the richest men in the city. Your teachers are paid more in a month than this man earns in a year. And yet you tell me he is your greatest guide?" Ryan met his father's eyes bravely. "Yes, father. Because he believed in me. He did not care about money or titles. He only cared about helping me learn." Adil fell silent. His pride battled with his reason. He wanted to dismiss his son's words, but a small voice inside him whispered that maybe, just maybe, he had been blind. Later that day, Adil went to the school unannounced. He asked to see the janitor. Imran came, his shirt dusty from work, his hands still carrying the marks of years of labor. "You are Imran?" Adil asked sharply. "Yes, sir," the janitor replied calmly. "My son claims you taught him," Adil said, his voice low. "Is this true?" Imran did not look away. "I did not teach him as a teacher teaches a class. I only showed him how to believe in himself. The rest, he did on his own." Adil studied him, searching for arrogance, but found only humility. "Why would you bother with my son?" "Because I saw a boy who was drowning," Imran said gently. "And I knew he could swim if someone showed him how. I did for him what I once did for my own child." For the first time, Adil felt his pride weaken. This man, dressed in plain clothes, spoke with dignity and strength. There was no begging, no flattery, only truth. That evening, Adil returned home, his mind unsettled. He watched his son studying quietly in his room. Ryan no longer looked lost or broken. He looked focused, determined. "Perhaps I was wrong," Adil whispered to himself. Over the next few days, he observed his son more closely. Ryan woke early, read with discipline, and even helped the younger staff in the mansion when they struggled with tasks. He was no longer the spoiled, careless boy Adil had feared would waste his inheritance. Something had changed him deeply. One evening, as father and son shared dinner, Adil spoke at last. "Ryan, I was hard on you. I did not believe you could change. But I see now that you are becoming stronger." Ryan looked up, surprised. It was rare to hear softness in his father's tone. Adil continued slowly, "If this janitor truly gave you the courage to find your way, then I cannot deny his value. I may not understand it fully, but I will not forbid you from learning from him anymore." A wave of relief washed over Ryan. For the first time, his father's words felt like a doorway opening. That night, he rushed to tell Imran the news. The janitor smiled warmly. "See, Ryan. Even the proudest walls can fall when the truth is strong enough." Ryan nodded, his heart full. The storm that had once trapped him was now behind him. But little did he know, another test was waiting, not an exam this time, but a challenge of character that would show just how much he had truly learned. The new school year began with a fresh sense of hope. Ryan walked through the gates with his head held high. Teachers greeted him with recognition, and classmates who once ignored him now looked at him with respect. But Ryan knew the real reason for his confidence was not grades, wealth, or praise. It was the lessons he had learned from Imran. He still met the janitor after school, though now their meetings were lighter, filled with laughter and small talks. Imran never took credit for Ryan's success. "You did the work, Ryan," he said with a gentle smile. "I only showed you the way." Ryan nodded. He understood. True success came not from someone else doing things for you, but from finding the strength inside yourself. One afternoon, as he studied alone in the school library, a group of students approached him. They had once laughed at him, called him a failure. Now, they looked unsure, hesitant. "Ryan," one of them said, "can you help us with math? We heard you're really good now." Ryan paused. He could see their genuine need and curiosity. He smiled. "Of course," he said. "Let's start from the beginning." He taught them slowly, showing them tricks that Imran had taught him, breaking problems into small steps, connecting ideas to real-life examples, and never giving up even when the answer seemed impossible. By the end of the session, the students were smiling, understanding things that had once seemed too hard. They thanked Ryan sincerely. As he left the library, he felt proud. Not because he had shown off, but because he had passed along something important. Knowledge and patience were meant to be shared. Back at home, Mr. Adil watched quietly from the doorway. He had been observing Ryan for weeks now. The boy's confidence, humility, and willingness to help others had changed him more than any report card could. "Ryan," he said one evening, "you have done more than I expected. Not just in school, but in life. You are learning to be responsible, to help others, and to face challenges without fear." Ryan smiled softly. "Thank you, Father. I could not have done it without guidance." Adil studied him for a moment, then nodded. "And I see now that guidance can come from the most unexpected places. I was wrong to judge your teacher by his job. You have shown me the value of wisdom, not wealth." Ryan felt a warmth in his chest. Finally, his father understood not only his achievements, but the journey that had made him strong. Weeks later, Ryan returned to the school hall one last time before the summer break. He saw Imran sweeping the floor, humming quietly. The janitor looked up and smiled when he saw him. "Thank you, Imran," Ryan said. "For everything. You changed my life." Imran shook his head. "No, Ryan. You changed your own life. I only helped you see it. Remember, the real power is inside you, and you will carry it wherever you go." Ryan nodded. He understood now more than ever. Success was not only about passing exams or pleasing others. It was about believing in yourself, working with patience, and helping others along the way. That summer, Ryan helped younger students at school, shared his knowledge, and even started writing small notes about learning and life. He wanted to pass on what Imran had taught him, so no one else would feel like a failure. By the end of the year, Ryan had not only grown smarter, but stronger in heart and mind. He had earned his father's respect, the admiration of his peers, and most importantly, his own confidence. One evening, as the sun set over the city, Ryan stood on the balcony of the mansion and thought about how far he had come. From a boy who failed every test to a young man who discovered the secret of learning and self-belief, his journey had been extraordinary. And though exams would continue, challenges would rise, and life would test him again, Ryan knew he was ready. He carried with him not just knowledge, but the greatest secret of all, the power to believe in himself. He smiled, feeling the warmth of hope and courage, ready to face any storm that life could bring.